In the 1960s, Don Yenko emerged as one of the SCCA's top road racers. But Yenko became famous for what he did away from the racetrack. He took regular Chevy production cars and turned them into bona fide racing machines, selling them at his Pennsylvania car dealership. Not many were made, and relative few still survive, making Yenkos some of the most sought-after collector cars in the world. Today, 4 partners and their team are taking on a huge challenge. Build a replica 1969 Camaro that uses today's technology but remains faithful to the original. It's a gamble that could breathe new life into a legend. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the brand new Yenko Camaro is starting to take shape. Months ago, the team at Brand New Muscle Car started with a reproduction 1969 Camaro body. The first step, welding on larger mini tubs. That provided extra clearance for the Yenko's extra wide tires. The object is to make this look just like the original 1969 Yenko Camaro. So, the bodymen brushed on the seam seal just like workers would have done in the 1960s. The body went to the paint booth for a coat of hot rod black. Then, the crew welded on new brackets to accommodate a rear end that employs today's technology but looks like a rear end from 50 years ago. A modern subframe and frame connectors make this car more rigid than a vintage muscle car, and that means a safer car with better performance. As the team in Tulsa began to test fit the body panels, a small group in Florida was working on the power plant, building the muscle for this brand new muscle car.
Got to making 590 horsepower. Tell me that ain't kick-ass in any car.
Back in Tulsa, the bodywork continues. Martin and Tony test fit the body panels and complete some of the final steps before the paint guys get set to take over once again.
Obviously, these cars are made up of multiple metal panels. They're overlapped, they're welded, and there's a seam where they meet. What we're getting ready to do is clean this up, seam seal it, to seal all those panels together. We'll make it airtight, we'll make it watertight, the car will heat and cool better, and it'll make it quiet like a new car.
It's critical that the guys use old school methods to give this car the look of a 1969 Yenko Camaro, right down to the smallest detail. Martin comes from a long line of bodymen, and it's important to him to pass his knowledge along to the next generation, in this case to his son-in-law, Tony.
To be able to come in and him take me in and teach me what he's teaching me, from every little single thing from a new car to an old car is just, I'm more than honored to carry what he has and what he had taught me.
Okie dokie.
Martin and Tony have finished the metal and body work. Now we've rolled the car in on our DJS rollers into the paint shop, and now we're gonna prep and prime the car. So first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna sand it all down, they're gonna tape it up, and then they're gonna prime it and make it all look like one nice pretty color.
It's critical to sand every inch of the body. The roughed up surface gives the primer something to bite into so it sticks better, plus sanding removes any imperfections, making for stunning results.
Whenever we started building these cars, I started taking a step back and looking at what I'm working on and realizing some of the beautiful body lines that go into these cars. These are some of the prettiest cars that I'll work on.
I mean, most people get into the paint and body business to be able to work on these old cars. It's finally come around to the time that we could do this on our own and be able to make a living with it.
The great thing about what I get to do on a daily basis is I'm not working on what everybody else in Tulsa is getting to work on. I'm not working on what a lot of people around the world's getting to work on. Yeah, there are days where, your fingers get sore, your fingers get tired, your hands start cramping up. It's just the way you look at it. You take a step back, take 5 seconds, and just look at what you're working on. I can take a brand new 2018, any vehicle out there, brand new Mustang, brand new Camaro, brand new Challenger, anything out there, they're all trying to go back to look like these old vehicles for a reason.
So this is 180 grit that we're using on this car to get it all ready to put our first coat of primer down, which is our sprayable body filler. Blocks real nice. This is 180 grit sandpaper
It's pretty coarse, and we'll probably go through box on the entire car. So we'll probably go through about 100 of these.
Coming up next, we learn what it was like for the men and women who built the original Yenko conversion cars of the 1960s. And the paint guys begin the sanding process.
He needs to stop whining. What? What? Nothing.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
Classic Industries presents brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro is brought to you by Chris Austin's Chassis Works, the home of higher technology. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time. DJS Fabrications, the best mobile car dolly built today. And by Classic Industries, America's first choice in restoration and performance parts and accessories. The work that's going on today in this small shop in Tulsa was inspired by what went on in this shop in Pennsylvania some 50 years ago. In the late 1960s, Don Yenko's staff replaced the stock engines and suspension on regular Camaros and sold them as Yenko supercars. It was a small crew, and it wasn't their only project, so that made for a really busy workplace.
We were still doing engine transplants along with the racing program, so there was a lot going on here. And so much going on that I don't think any one person, Don Yenko himself, didn't know of everything that was going on, let alone me or anybody else in the shop. It was a hustle-bustle place, and everything was in a panic. It was like nothing just rolled on. It didn't work that way. And Donna Mae, she was the coordinator of Yenko Sports Cars and worked with Don in their upstairs office there. That's where they hung out. And very seldom did you ever see them in the shop. They just didn't come back here. It wasn't what they did. The corporate decisions naturally were all with them, but the work went on here.
It was overwhelming, really, through 67 and 68. I'm not bragging, but we had a tremendous success rate. Of all the things that we were doing and as involved as the conversions were, we had almost no comebacks or failures.
And I don't think anybody at the time appreciated the long-lasting effects of what was going on at Yenko at the time. You have to look back and say, oh, now I understand how that happened. But at the time, who knew?
Being in your 20s, you know, and a lot of energy and nothing to really hold you back or put you down, there isn't much that would have changed other than paying a little more attention to what was going on around me.
From 1966 to 1972, Yenko Chevrolet turned out about 1,000 Yenko conversion cars. And after 50 years, no one knows how many still exist. That makes Yenko some of the most sought-after collector cars in America and some of the hardest to find.
Our airbrush guy came by, and he was talking about this work that he did for another guy here in town. And he noticed there was a car with a tarp on it. So he's like, what's that? He goes, let me tell you a story about this car. 18-year-old kid comes in and wants to go fast, doesn't really know anything. And he wanted to know why the guy that owned the car was like really arrogant, really like into himself. Because he had his stitching in the seats. You know what the stitching was? Yenko. Yenko. The SYC was stitched in there. So he didn't think anything of it. He thought it was just somebody's initials. He threw everything out. Oh! Threw it all away and then cut up the car. Oh. We just seen that same car go across the auction block of Barrett Jackson for 300 grand.
I don't know what they've got on here, Dustin, but I'm hammering it with 180, and it's tough.
He needs to stop whining. What?
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 Nothing.
Jinko?
Jinko.
Jinko?
Jinko. 15 years ago, Jared came in, one of the shops that I was at, and tried to give him some pointers. He is
You need it.
jokester. He is that. He likes to play.
as we all do. Did you say we need another box of 180?
Absolutely.
So we're gonna get our 3M box of 180 at O'Reilly's through our girl Misty, because she's awesome. That's my girl Misty.
Thank you for calling O'Reilly's. This is Misty. How can I help you?
Misty, hey, it's David from Brand New Muscle Car.
What's going on?
Misty is one of the many employees who make O'Reilly Auto Parts so valuable to the guys at Brand New Muscle Car. David Miller and his crew rely on them daily for everything they need.
Okay, I'll come get them.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thanks.
A lot of times when we're doing a car, especially during the build, we're very, very fortunate because our local O'Reilly's is 3 doors down, literally. So there are days when I'm walking to O'Reilly's. Now they do deliver, but if it's in a rush, I'll just run down there. Hey, Misty.
Hey.
Thanks for the help on the phone.
No problem.
Walter Martin?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Misty, you got some flywheel bolts? Oh, okay, thank you. Back again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And pressure plate bolts. Thank you. Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
When we return, the sanding continues, and so does the friendly rivalry between the paint guys and the body guys.
Body man takes her time, gets to the paint shop. Oh, everything's in a hurry now.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
Photos and documents shown on brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro, courtesy of Mark Gillespie. For even more about Don Yenko and the supercars that made his dealership famous, look online for the Yenko era and the Yenko era continued, Cannonsburg and beyond.
Hey, why are we doing this? We should have helpers do this. This is what helpers are for.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Hey, look what I found!
Holy world! About freaking time you showed up.
Brandon is an important player on the paint team. He isn't loud and he isn't flashy, but he fits right in with Dustin and Jared.
Someone's like family with us. It's like brothers.
Dustin, does it look like he needs a kiss?
Oh, man. I missed you. He was the one that I pretty much trained all the way up. Turned out to be an outstanding painter. Jared went to school for this, so he really kind of knew what he was doing whenever he first came in. Brandon, on the other hand, he came from me from Votech. The thing is you can train them how to do something, but you can't train them to care. Brandon's always cared about that, so he just makes a great addition to this. I can't imagine doing any of this without him.
Dustin's in and out a lot, so like I can take over him and spray and paint them, jam them, block them. I mean, I can do anything.
Kids these days. Can I have the car back, please? The very first time that I ever met Dustin, I walked into a body shop. I was nervous, I was young, I was just fresh into the business. 15 minutes into it, he tackles Brandon, bites him on the shoulder, stands him up and starts whipping him with a belt molding. And I'm like, I can work with these guys. This is my kind of stuff.
Did you do this? You untie my shoe?
You sniffing paint again?
Every day. Where's Jared? Yeah, I see him right there. I see him right there.
You hear the funny stories about body shops and the goofing off. It's like that 24 hours a day. I mean, we take our job very serious, but very, very seriously funny at the same time.
We spend a lot of our time here, more than we are at home. So I mean, it's got to be fun, and you can't be serious all the time. Actually enjoy coming into work.
Do you want to go home?
Actually, don't ask him that.
Martin and Tony are a two-man bodywork team, so naturally they give the painters a hard time for having to use more people to get the job done.
Hey, don't be mad that we're smarter. Hey, we see the need. We just get more employees.
You want me to do it too? I mean, hey, bring an idea.
Hey, what we need to get the job done, not 5 days later.
No, what it is it took them forever to get it to us, and now we gotta hurry up and get it done.
Is that not the way it normally is? Body man takes her time, gets to the paint shop, oh, everything's in a hurry now.
Fire, we gotta get it done.
Gotta get it done. I'm sorry, I can't hear you! What? I can't hear!
Is it time for another break already, Dustin?
I'm already done with my side. Look, there's one person on this side, there's 3 on that side, and I'm already done.
The reason why there are 3 on this side is because they've already moved around the car, and yes, I did catch that.
Yes, you did. And I missed again. And I missed again. There was a piece of sandpaper attached to it. Are we done? Are we Scotch Brighton?
Got it!
Did you see that form?
That's how a real, let's see, are we gonna do football?
Oh.
There is not enough toilet paper here!
Now that I'm deaf.
That was loud in that corner. That was loud in that corner.
I didn't even see that one, dude.
That one echoed.
Way to go.
I was waiting for that to celebrate.
I think Junior's voice went up about 3 octaves on that one. He said, "Ah!"
Still to come, the paint guys get serious. They finish up the sanding and begin the masking process on the Yenko. Plus, we get an insider's look at the first 1969 Yenko Camaro.
Proformance Unlimited is one of the leaders in the muscle car industry, building engines that will suit the needs of nearly every car enthusiast. Our dedication to detail separates us from the rest, and our crate engines are hand-assembled one at a time, using the finest parts and are dyno tested to ensure durability and power output. Trials and errors and expensive mistakes are now a thing of the past. Proformance Unlimited, your crate engine experts, building your dream and ours one engine at a time.
This brand new muscle car Yenko Camaro is brought to you by Exalta Coating Systems. We paint winners. Scoggin Diggy Parts Center, your source for custom built street to strip power. Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool. And by Brand New Muscle Car, building yesterday's dream cars today.
This is one of the country's greatest car museums, but only a lucky few get a chance to see it in person. The American Muscle Car Museum in Melbourne, Florida is open only for charity events and fundraisers. But through our Yenko Collector Spotlight, we give you an up-close look at a muscle car that's truly one of a kind.
I would say 2 of the vehicles that are pretty significant would be the 1967 Yenko Camaro right behind me, and then also a 1969 Yenko Camaro, which is actually called Uno.
Here we have a very unique Yenko Camaro. In 1969, this was the first Yenko Camaro Don Yenko got into his dealership, made a test mule out of, and also is known as the Uno car. During this time, Yenko saw an opportunity in the 60s to get into drag racing because GM had limited to 400 cubic inches. In a sense, Yenko himself started installing his 427 power plants in the Yenko Camaros. Through the COPO, or the Central Office Production Order, all of a sudden Chevrolet seen the value of it, and he could actually have the 427 engine installed before they got to the dealership, in a sense saving himself some time. One of the COPO things was the COPO 9561, and with that you got the L72, 450 horse, 427, you got the increased radiator size, you had a 12-bolt positive traction, and you had a 4-10-11 ratio rear axle. You also got the handling package, which was the COPO 9737, which come with 140 miles an hour speedometer, the larger diameter front stabilizer bar, 15x7 rally wheels, and an E70 raised white letter tire. This 1969 was the final year for quite a while on the Camaro project until 1981 when Don Yenko picked him up again. We were invited, and it was a true honor to be at the 2017 Amelia Island Concours d'Elegance. This is one where Jerry and I got to bring a pair of Yenkos. He brought the 68 lowest mileage Yenko known, and I had the honor of bringing the 69 Uno car here. These cars received a lot of attention, and they had a display of the 10 most influential Camaros, and we had 2 of them there.
Notice nobody else has 2 in their hand.
Back in Oklahoma, the paint crew gets the brand new Yenko ready for primer, and Dustin tries his best to get the trunk unlocked.
Is this thing...
I was gonna see how long it took you to figure out what in there.
You know what? Now I got to get even for that remark.
Okay.
And I'm really not a fan of the 2-inch tape.
No.
I really like the 1.5 better. Now, a lot of people like the 2-inch tape. I like the 1.5 tape. It's a little smaller. I like the 1.5 tape because it's easier to use. You don't waste as much. To me, whenever you use something like this, there's a lot of waste to it. This stuff is more expensive, so therefore, keep costs down. I just like using the 1.5 tape better. It's just easier to maneuver. Probably not to mention we've been using it for years, so we probably got used to it.
The masking process is tedious, but vital. Quite simply, it keeps paint and primer overspray from getting it to where it's not needed.
Thank you for not stepping on me again. After all the...
You know, you really don't need to talk when you're down.
The wheel wells in the bottom of the car have already gotten a coat of black paint, so the guys are careful to mask off those parts to keep the primer out.
Just throw it and then run.
Watch it.
Watch it! Watch it! Let me get some tape right here and put it right here. Ugh. Jared, do you need some tape?
I think you need to poop.
Next week, Dustin gets dragged kicking and screaming into painting the car yellow.
And that's why I had such reservations about this yellow, is because I was like, oh Lord, this is this nice of a car. I'm gonna have to paint this thing yellow. I hate painting yellow.
But the rep from the paint company tries to convince him that everything is gonna be okay.
Okay, Grandpa. Okay, I coming for you.
Bad dog.
No.
Bad dog.
Come around, Grandpa. Grandpa! Don't do that! Don't do that! You hurt yourself! Come on! Come on!